Believe we are live. So I'll say indeed and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you for joining me once again, for finding yourself in this very moment, spending some time with me. I'll play like a minute of Kilimba to kind of like get us into the flow of things. Skibop! There we go! Officially live. 100% sure some of our friends have started joining us. Today we're going to talk about celebrating life instead of earning your life, right? This understanding that, when we come into this world as little infantile babies, there is this genuine celebration of this existence, right? Oh, wow, so cute. Oh, it's so great that you exist, you poor, vulnerable, soft, gooey being. And then something changes for some reason along the way where we start expecting these entities to earn their existence. It's like, oh yeah, have you moneyed? Then you don't get to exist. Have you not, financials? Then no medicines for you, etc., etc. So kind of like, at least, as a concept, bringing into our minds, asking ourselves the questions as to how we can cultivate that energy we have when it comes to, children, the celebrating of them just simply existing, or like pets, like we did talk about that yesterday about like Pippi, like Pippi isn't going to, she's wagging her tail as I'm talking about her. She isn't going to, in one way or another, generate extreme financial wealth in my life, but I celebrate her existence all the same. I don't love her any less because there is no money going to be earned by her, right? So why do we even have that as an option when it comes to actual human beings? Also, this trip of celebrating existence. Hello, Kitty. We have Kitty saying hi as well. Meow meow meow. Where's your meow meow? Where's your meow? I can't touch you right now, dude. I touch my face sometimes in stream. I appreciate your lovins, though. Yeah, there you go, sweetie Kitty. There you go, sweetie. Right? Like animals, when it comes to their way of like showing up in this world, they celebrate simply existing. Love you. They celebrate simply existing in a way that is so beautiful. My doggo, who has now passed, Bingo, he was 17 years old, so blind, so deaf, like could literally not even experience the world as it was supposed to be. And still, he would show up. He would wake up in the mornings and he would go and stand in the sunlight, right? Couldn't see it, couldn't hear the sunlight. I hope most of us can't hear sunlight. But he would just, I could see him in that blissful space of just basking in the heat coming from the sun in the mornings. And he continued living till the day that he died, right? Like he was alive for all of it. And he passed away in his sleep. At least that's what it looked like. He went to bed one night and the next morning he was no longer in a state of being. And there was just this sense of acceptance in my heart when he did pass, but also this lesson that I learned through him and just his willingness to continue being alive. How we as human beings, with this current system we find ourselves in, expected to earn our survival, expected to earn our existence, we can want to cease to exist, right? The fact that there is this possibility, this idea, this narrative that can arise within the human being of suicide, where we can be so in a state of dread, so disadvantaged, so there's a certain word I'm looking for. Disenfranchised? Is that the right one? Separated from our own humanity, as yesterday's topic, to the point where we don't want to continue existing. And thinking of an antidote all of yesterday as to how we're going to get past that is like a feeling within the human heart. It's just celebrating, right? Dancing as a fractal of that, expression as well. I'm watching Peppy and Yudi, play, and it's making my heart happy. They're actually playing now. They're like chasing each other around and, doing like play biting. Melt more, I'm going to say French toast sticks at 11:11, so brace yourself. Okay, good. I'm bracing. I'm imagining like this part of my mind that was like unbraced, and now there's like all of these structures being put in place. It's praise Kristen. It's nice having you here. Nancy and Shan, and Natalie and Zano, and Joy Vive, of course, to Jacob. It's so nice seeing you, friend. Sending you love-ins. Connor is here as well. And Sam. Let me see what I'm missing. I just got a mom. Are you talking to Meltmore? Yeah, mom is talking to Meltmore, in fact. Nancy, love-ins to you too. Yay, Kalimba. Just a little bit. This is like a lullaby. Yeah, some gentle vibes. Morning, friends. Morning, Joy. Is it wrong to love animals more because they don't deal with financial issues? I don't think so. I don't think there's anything wrong whatsoever. In fact, Loizana, sending you lovin's too. I feel like that's the thing that I'm trying to get at, is I'm trying to see, as humanity, as families, as a species, how it is we kind of got to this point where we stop celebrating simple existence, and I'm trying to think of it from the perspective of ceaseless work, knowing that this human experience comes along with ceaseless work, that is not something that we can escape ultimately, and that we all have roles to play in our communities. And if you don't play that role, there is either going to be an expectation of others to fill the role you refuse to play, or there is going to go things undone, and then that experience of things not done, or that experience of expecting others to do the things you were refusing to do, causes tension, and then that tension causes anger, and then that anger makes us forget, right? Makes us forget to celebrate the act of simply existing. So maybe it's not a fact of we have gotten to a point where we don't celebrate existing. We still do, in large part. It's just we've gotten so angry, right? Angry with the system that is right now, angry with the things that are expected of us, that we get to a point where we don't celebrate, right? We are just surviving, earning our survival ultimately. Yeah, so seeds planted. Let's see what little flowers grow from your mind. I greet you as a friend. Flare Star Child. I think I've seen you comment on some of my shorts. It's nice seeing you comment in one of the live streams, dear friend. Sending you so much love-ins. Thank you for greeting me as a friend. You know what friend means to me? I don't know if it means the same to you, but the word friend in my mind is attached to the fractal of someone I would like to walk side by side with, right? That's what friend means in my mind. Someone I would like to walk side by side with. And it really makes me happy. That's why I use the word friend for all of you, because I want to walk side by side with you, friends. That we're going towards our future, our collective future. There is no exclusivity in the future we're heading into. we are building it together. And if we're unwilling to walk side by side, then we're going to end up, in a place of dissonance ultimately. For fear arises from the thought that I am alone, separated from my creator. Yet in reality, it is the creator perceiving the creator and creating the perception that God is separate from God. Each particle of God holds the potential of the whole, as in you. If God, who becomes you, held the thought, I certainly can't separate myself from myself, that would be a limitation. Right? If it was impossible for us to cease celebrating existence and expect existence to be earned, then that would be a limitation, right? That in the ultimate scheme of things, in the infinite reality that we find ourselves within, there would be this experience-sized hole in the universe, and we have to experience this kind of slice of reality. And I do believe that it's supposed to be a lesson to us that we're not supposed to experience the things, the past, the current state of reality, our economy, our inequality, etc., 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 from a experience of like this is the way that it's going to be. But we're supposed to experience it from a part of ourselves where we're like, like maybe put it in a more like personal, contextual way. I have like issues with food, where food seems to be the one drug that I should actually say sugar, not so much food. Sugar is the one drug that I seem to be the most addicted to, where I find myself in abuse patterns, where I overdo it and I eat excessively and then I feel bad. I'm still aware of that fractal and I journal about it and I ask myself why it is that way, like could be some of my karma, could be like my past lives influencing me, etc., etc. There's so much airy fairiness that can go into that topic as well. But instead of seeing it as my burden, my curse, I see it as something that I get to learn from. That I notice how excessive eating causes me brain fog, causes me to feel bad about myself, causes me to regress in the progress that I'm trying to make towards a goal. And then when I notice this experience, I can self-correct, right? And then trying to extend that from a personal lens onto a societal lens. Everything we're experiencing right now, the greed, the gluttony that is happening in society at large, just think about the amount of money just laying in bank accounts, doing nothing, right? Just think about that. Like there's trillions, trillions of dollars absolutely just doing absolutely nothing, right? And that kind of level of greed, that level of excess, causes us to regress, causes us to fatten ourselves up, causing the system not to run as efficiently as it's supposed to. Because money is supposed to be information, and information is supposed to be flowing. That if there is no information exchange, there is stagnation, right? And stagnation isn't great, even in the context of water. You'll die if you drink stagnant water without doing the due diligence to make it clean again. So yeah, point made. You friends know what I'm saying. You friends understand. Let me see. Natalie, are you asking if it's okay to love animals more because they don't do stupid things? I mean, they do stupid things. Pippi, for instance, had this little bed, and when she gets into this space where she's like in heat or something, it messes with her head for some reason, and it like switches on this destructive part of herself, where she bites onto her little bed, and then humps the living daylights out of it, and then she chews on like sides of it, and then pulls out the fluff, and like it's horrible. Like she properly destroyed her bed completely, and that's pretty stupid, at least from our perspective. But we don't hurt her or love her any less for doing something like that. And even though people can do stuff like that, I don't know if it's the most common experience, right? Where someone just destroys something for the sake of their own frustration. my mind instantly goes about looking into all of the fractals where that's exactly what's happening right now. I'm like, okay, fine, fine, I get it, I get it. And that frustration, that level of frustration does cause a lot of financial damage as well. But we wouldn't be as frustrated as we are if things didn't frustrate us, right? If there was a certain information exchange, a flow, a dynamic give and take to this society, this situation we find ourselves in right now. Anything pent up, anything stagnated turns to rot. Again, Jacob, love to you. Amara is getting celebrated at school on Thursday for being Student of the Month, for exhibiting gratitude. I'm one proud mama. This is true. She got a little letter and everything. Amara is getting celebrated for her way of existence. You know, gratitude. How cool. Disenfranchised seems to fit. Hey, Google, can you define disenfranchised? Just so I can really consolidate the fractal. Disenfranchisement, also called disfranchise. Dis, I'm sorry. The word, also called disenfranchisement or voter dissatisfaction, is the restriction of suffrage of a person or group of people, or a practice that has the effect of preventing a person from exercising the right to vote. Yeah, I think that is a good word, right? The way I'm interpreting that is just taking autonomy away from people, right? Taking away this feeling that you as a person have right now, this idea that you can change things, right? That's like the issue we're facing right now, because we can change things. We can, 100%. Changing things is not that difficult, but every single one of us has to almost collectively make that change. And the disenfranchisement that we're experiencing is this feeling that, what can I do, right? Surely I am too small as an individual person to be able to change the world. And because every single person in the world believes that, that is the reality of the situation, right? It's a certain level of brain damage, of conditioning, brainwashing that we have kind of like found ourselves in. Well, Natalie, the answer is conditionally yes. But if you follow the road to its end, you're going to become some vegan leather clad vigilante of the forest. That's a good source of pride to celebrate, Chan. It is, absolutely. Love again to you, Connor. It's nice seeing your name. Sam, that describes the entire group of my off-grid friends. We celebrate existence. That's why we have birthdays. Yes, exactly. It's true. But again, this is the point I'm trying to make, right? Within that celebrating of the birthday, it has become a commercial thing again, where when I was a kid, yeah, cool, I get to exist, but I want something, right? I want a new toy or a new piece of technology. That was like my thing past 6 years old. I wanted technology. I was like, yeah, give me tech, please. Please give me more technology. I remember asking my dad as a 6-year-old for a camera, and I still don't have one. I mean, I have these cell phones, so technically it counts, right? And I just remember this visceral part of me that would get angry, right? That wouldn't celebrate the existence of my parents for not celebrating my existence in this capitalistic, giving me something, justifying me it being my birthday, right? That's what I'm trying to talk about. Is that, yeah, we are celebrating existence, but it has become again an approximation. It has become a bastardization of what it was supposed to be. Celebrating. Like Loizana shared something beautiful with me that's been resonating over and over again in my head, is this fact that we celebrate children's birthdays when they have their birthday, but we don't necessarily celebrate the mother for becoming a mother, you know, for those X amount of years as well. And if you really think about it, it might have been, is it more work to exist than to facilitate someone else's existence? At least at first, right? At least at first. Amara's birthday is going to be soon. So remember to celebrate Shan as well, I guess. Greet you. I greet you as yourself. I appreciate you for celebrating me too, dear friend. Loazana sending lovin's to our friends. That's a beautiful description of friend. I'm happy that you like it, Kristen. It's my favorite description of friend as well. Let's see what Google believes. Hey, Google, can you define friend? Friend. Friendship is a relationship of mutual affection between people. Again, right? Like the fact that the word mutual has to be in there again creates this vector that you need to earn my friendship from me, right? That I can, in my context of friendship, I can walk side by side with you without you contributing to me walking this path right now, right? That I realize that maybe you're so in your own head, so in your own experience, that you might not even notice me walking side by side you. Affection. Hey Google, define affection. Affection, a gentle feeling of fondness or liking. An action of process of affecting or being affected. Yeah, fondness or liking. I think, unfortunately, mine is a little bit less than gentle, right? It transitions over from fondness or liking to just straight love. Again, love as a willingness to give our presence, to give our attention, to give our focus in this moment, to endure things that we don't necessarily like experiencing, to accept that there is multiplicity, difference in opinion, and unity, this experience being unified. And is there another one? Just being itself, right? Celebrating the fact of being itself, loving the fact that someone gets to occupy space and time alongside you. Ah, friendship. What a thing. Regression sucks so bad. It sucks so bad because your ego, tells you a story about it. Where, like, the way I think of it sometimes is that I might be regressing on my physical goals, right? I might gain 8 more pounds of fat again. But I'm not regressing on my mental goals or my mental understanding that that's not what I want to be doing. I'm still progressing in different mediums, in different layers of my existence, even though I might not be progressing on the physical layer of existence. And you might be progressing on the physical layer of existence and not on the mental layer of existence. Or you might be progressing on the emotional layer of existence, but not on the mental or the spiritual, spiritual. Yeah. So the way I think of it is like they're all frequencies, and wherever they're tuned in, sometimes they can come into alignment, and that can be ideal. But I see it as a spectrum. That you find yourself in this constant process of bettering, and unfortunately, from an ego perspective, regressing in a way that is tangible or noticeable feels bad because it uses it as a story to make you feel bad, right? Like it's like a game. Just think of it that like in that way, where in this game you play with yourself to try and be a better person. When you score badly on this little scorecard you've created for yourself, it gives you the opportunity to tell yourself that that was bad, even though it might not contextually be, even though you might have been better in that transgression than you would have been 10 years ago. It's all a matter of perspective, right? I just realized that you should celebrate simply existing. Celebrate the fact that you get to exist at all. Sugar is the devil. I window shop cakes on Uber Eats. That's too real, yo. I like a part of me wants to apologize just hearing those words. I will dispute that I don't do stupid things. Exactly. I do stupid things as well. Like, for instance, eating excessively. I think that's stupid, right? Because my body likes that. It's like, yeah, yeah, we're surviving, I'm gonna be okay. It tells itself. It like down regulates the amount of leptin. No. upregulates the amount of leptin my body produces, and downregulates the amount of ghrelin, making me feel less hungry after stuffing my face. And then it's like, yeah, good, survival. But my mind knows better than my body is telling it to do. As in, your body, and the way you can like kind of like depict this in like old-timey perspective. If you were a hunter-gatherer and you found yourself in like a little oasis and there were a bunch of fruit trees, right? You would literally gorge yourself, eat as many of them as you could fit in your face, and then you would put as many of them, in your little basket or in your arms, and then you would carry it back with you, to your tribe to go and share with others. But that experience of having access to this nutrient source and then putting as much of it in your face as possible is a survival tactic that your body has evolved over millions of years. Like, it's supposed to try and survive. Now we have food everywhere. We have an actual box inside our house, either the fridge or our pantry, that is just filled with food, right? And to this monkey kind of gorge yourself, right? Get as many of that stuff inside your body as quickly as possible, because because that's what you need to do. That's what I've been trained to do. And your mind knows better. It knows that there will be food again tomorrow. It knows that that is not a behavior that serves it necessarily. And getting those two systems to work together, your I consciousness being the one that's aware of this whole dynamic unfolding, is difficult. It is difficult. Oh, goodness. And you can feel stupid when you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and it's still not any easier to do it. Fractal thinking is a good way to be. Once you know enough, you can start to see and nature that emerge, properties of those fractals. Exactly. I'm happy to see another friend that understands that way of, thinking, fractal thinking. And I use that word a lot, probably, to detriment, to the point that it doesn't make sense anymore. But the way I see it is that everything is a fractal of something, right? Your body is a fractal of evolution. Your mind is a fractal of everything you've ever experienced. Your perception is a fractal of your way of thinking, etc., etc. Like things coming off of things. Hey, Google, define fractal. Essentially, it's something that, yeah, let me read you the clinical definition. It goes, a curve or geometrical figure, each part of which has the same statistical character as the whole. As in, this experience you're having right now, let's talk about the food fractal, right? Even though I am an individual person and you are an individual person, because we have this biology, this human body that needs nutrients to eat, you understand the statistical character that is the food narrative, because it's a part of the whole, right? Like, it's something that you intrinsically understand. I don't have to try and explain to you how hungry feels, right? I don't have to try and explain to you how cravings feel, because it is something that is already intrinsically a part of you. And me talking about it is almost like opening that fractal. You have all of these nodes of information that is feeding into this conversation, allowing you to understand what it is I'm talking about, but in your own way, right? Like, your fractal is different to mine, but we can still talk about this thing and experience, our own divergent thinking as a result of it, our own fractal as a result of it. They are useful in modeling structures such as snowflakes, in which similar patterns reoccur as progressively smaller scales, and in describing partly random or chaotic phenomena such as crystal growth or galaxy formation or habit formation or the formation of narratives inside the mind or the formation of perceptions about your reality and the people you spend time with, or your perception of food and the way your relationship is with that. Branching fractals. And then the adjective definition goes, relating to or the nature of a fractal or fractals. Thank you. Great, that's fantastic. The way I think of it is something that has a whole branch, a whole like plethora of information, and then that plethora of information attaches, and then there can be like a single line narrative. Even though this thing we're talking about is broad, there can be this single line narrative kind of like attaching to this. And I'm saying words and I'm experiencing from my fractal, and it makes sense to me. And even though your fractal is completely different, the words I'm saying is still attaching, right, to your own nodes. And then there is growth. There is an understanding that is reached by kind of accessing these parts of our being, a conscious evolution, if you will, right? Also, the Super Kitty show on Disney Plus has a character named Amara. Perfect. How cute. Way to go, Amara. Love is true. Wednesday, joy today is Tuesday. Is true. Doug thought you was hiking. He's hiking on Wednesday. Yeah, tomorrow. Does it really, Doug? How cool. I'll tell my Amara that. That's so cute. Feel free, Joy. Can't pay $8 for a sliver of cheesecake. Can't do it. Yeah, $8 is like 160 Rand. That's like too much. It's too much money, dude. 160 Rand for a slice of cake. To give you an idea, you could get like 2 large pizzas for 160 Rand from like Romans or something. So it's like 2 large pizzas or a slice of cake. No, thank you. Thanks, Lois. Love is true. Friends, I've caught up. Love you. We love you too. You have to sue them for copyright infringement, Shan. Damn, Super Kitty stealing names. It's like, yeah, can only be one. Can only be one Amara. You know, I want that revenue cut. She'll probably be excited. There's a cat type animal at the Buffalo Zoo that's named Amara too. How sweet. Seriously, more synchronicity. Yes, Amara's birthday is next Wednesday. I can't believe she's turning 10. A 10-year-old being, 1 decade of existence. Oh man, aging. Aging is such an experience. I'm trying to think back to when I was a 10-year-old. Wasn't exactly my favorite time of my experience. In fact, probably some of my worst. Like, seriously, thinking back into my life, most of the suffering and trauma I experienced, I experienced during my school years. You know, and that like says a lot. I don't know if it says anything good, but it does say a lot. Hey, I see Jovan joining us too. She's lurking though, sending you lovin's. Uh, I just got a font typeface from my client, and it's called Mind Melt. It's a hippie font. Y'all would like it. Please like send us some photos maybe on the Discord. That sounds sick. Yes. I got my period when I was 10. Oh goodness, joy. What an experience that must have been. I was fortunate enough to be born a man, so I didn't get any periods, but I had like growth pain. Oh goodness, my feet and my back, and I would sleep for like 16 hours a day, and I would just hate existing. I'd be like, this fucking sucks, dude. You know, but it didn't happen at 10. It happened at like 13, 14, 15. That's when I gained most of my person, I guess. Being a woman must be extra hard in that capacity. Suddenly you start bleeding and you have to take precautions. You have to be prepared, and your body is like tangibly changing. Like my body changed as well, but I didn't have to do anything, right? Like I'm thinking about that aspect of it. I was kind of like blessed in that capacity to just grunt through it, having to play an active part in taking care of yourself. I guess that could be a part of why women are more mature than men as well. Like if you had to start actually taking care of something so serious, something so personal, something so visceral, right? Like it affects you. That is going to bring into your mind a certain level of maturity that boys don't have access to until we kind of like go into the world and have to suffer the consequences of our own actions. What an interesting trip that is, actually. Thank you for sharing with us, Joy. She would probably be excited. Yeah, I think I the one actually. Something happened to her though, and she's the only one. She only has one eye now, poor kitty girl. Was at the zoo and saw that she looked happy. I'm happy that she looks happy at least. Read about the gratitude award. That's wonderful, right? Can't even imagine that Amara right now. That was true. Shan, that is. That with Amara right now. I mean, it is coming, right? 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, at most, probably. It's not that far away anymore. I feel like the biggest thing, that shouldn't be encouraged or echoed, and that's why I'm talking about it in the stream as well, is that it's not something to be ashamed of, right? Like I remember during my school time, it was something that was a taboo conversation, something that was seen as cooties, oh, when, it's like, do you produce saliva? Yeah? Okay, good. Like we don't make it weird that we produce saliva, but we can make it weird that a woman's uterine line has to separate. It's kind of weird. But we don't have to make people feel ashamed or, feel disgusting or feel like, monsters for going through this natural process. Ah, kids. Right? Like just imagine you come into this world. You don't know anything. And then just as you're like getting into being who you think you are, just as your ego starts to form, radical change once again. I guess it doesn't really ever stop, but still, blessings to them. That's really wonderful for Amara. Perfect timing for a cranky girl who deserves to be recognized. This is the way. My mom couldn't either, Shan. She freaked out and took me to the doctor. No, you see, like, I'm projecting now, of course, but I can't imagine that felt good to your little, child consciousness to have this normal thing happen to you and then get taken to the doctor, and then this attachment of like, is there something wrong with me? Am I wrong? What's happening to me? Am I gonna die? Am I dying right now? What's happening to me? It's like, I can't imagine. That must be so brutal. Blessings to you, beloved Joy. Shan, that's really wonderful. That was true. Lurking and working. I just got a font. Again, love to that. Thank you so much, Shell. She's had a rough year, the past year. So many changes that have happened. So I'm happy to get to be recognized for something like this. Especially gratitude. Pippi wants to join me on my lap. Especially gratitude. Getting, recognized for something that is so valuable. I feel like it's an overall win, for humanity and for her. Remember, folks, fear is always an incompetent teacher. Yeah, it is pretty incompetent. It's the stick approach, right? Fear. Uncertainty. I'm trying to think if there has to be uncertainty, or if there has to be fear with uncertainty. There can be fear with uncertainty, and there can be uncertainty in fear. But I don't know if uncertainty is necessarily something to be scared of. Right? I'm not certain about how the rest of my day is potentially going to go. I have like ideas. Right? I'm going to make my flower and write my poetry. And I've been trying to learn a new piece of software called Resolume. We do like VJing. but my computer keeps crashing, which is less than ideal. But I don't know, right? That is like a part of the uncertainty, right? I'm like doing something, and at any moment it could crash, and I'm like, riding the edge, and maybe it doesn't crash at all tonight. That would be great. So yeah, embrace the uncertainty. Both boxes of food in my pantry. Power, yeah, is to go with that. Understanding. Understanding is the most important goal. So interesting that you say that, actually, dear friend. I don't know if you were here for that conversation, but I smoked DMT last year, 22nd of February, at 22 seconds past 22 minutes past 10. And I couldn't go in. It like instantly spat me back out, and I opened my eyes and I was in this realm. And I write these intentions on all of the things that I put in my body, to kind of like attach a level of energy. And the energy that I attached to that one was understanding. And the understanding that I came to in that moment is, again, celebrate living. That dying, going to that spiritual realm of existence, is inevitable. It's there whether you think about it or not. It's there whether you believe it or not. It's there whether you want it or not. So embrace living. Just embrace this experience of actually existing. It is worthy. It is here for you to experience, after all. You are here to experience it. Does Duckling love her kalimba? I've been thinking about that as well. I've been wondering if she's been playing it. When you say it like that, I just think of refrigerator pooping. I'm thinking of like everything in both the boxes completely, becoming like rotten. Like that's where my mind goes, but I don't know if that's the attachment as well. Also, with regards to fractalization of ideas and thoughts, it's essentially information compression, as all things are, right? That this conversation we're having right now is but an approximation of something much larger than the self. Again, I'm using a language that I didn't invent, and you happen to speak this language that we didn't invent. And because we both speak this language, there can arise this experience that we're having right now. But the amount of things that had to happen, the amount of people, the amount of us going to school, the amount of me watching online content, kind of like being exposed to the American fractal, learning how to speak English properly, all of those ideas contributing to me, you having those ideas contributed to your mind, us sharing these ideas without even having to cognitively reason the fact before I say something, then us experience. It's a lot. It's a lot. But it's a beautiful way of saying it. Information compression. I have to go see everyone tomorrow for day 888. Looking forward to it, Nancy. Sending you lovin's, dear friend. I'm very grateful for the flower remedies to get both Amara and I through that time when it comes. What type of remedy would you give for that? You can't even imagine. Acceptance would probably be a big one. I'm now in possession of a book, Mark, made by Terra Nova for Meltmore. The gifts of art are continuing. Just the fact that a little being is choosing to create anything makes me happy. Thank you for sharing that with me, Natalie. It's the hormones and mood swings that scare me the most. Yeah, I can imagine. Suddenly, she both physically, mentally, emotionally becomes a whole different and potentially more difficult person. That's probably the biggest thing. Shan, I worry for my sister with my niece more than my girls when that happens. We name emotions in the house and respect when we just can't with others. That is good. I can't raise good humans if they don't teach them how to human. I am not the best parent, but I try where I can, as are you. I wouldn't bash yourself too hard, Natalie. From what I've seen, you're a pretty stellar parent. The way you love your little ones makes me feel like they know that they are loved. And that is, at the end of the day, the most invaluable thing that a parent can give their child. Thank you for teaching the little ones how to human, not just for teaching them how to follow orders. That's good. You have a family that do that. I love that. Me too. It would depend on how Amara feels as far as what the remedy she would need. Beach is a good one though for tolerance. Tolerance. Part of my tolerance was tested today. I tried to open the conversation of building on the farm, where I was like, Dad, if I manage to gather the resources and I want to build housing, you know, what do you think about that? And then he goes straight into this conversation of like, people aren't gonna be fucking on my farm. Like that's what he says to me. Like he uses the word spijker in Afrikaans, which is like a derogatory term for having sex. And my tolerance instantly melts away, where I'm in this state of like extreme like anger and dissatisfaction and upset and confusion as to like what's happening inside his head, that is the first conclusion that has come to, you know, like that's like, even if that's the way, you know, it works, right, that this housing and then people have sex in them, people only have sex for that long, right? And I ask him this, I'm like, that, you know, how long do you think people have sex for? An hour, right? Like 2 hours if they're really, you know, like high stamina individuals. And then what do you think people do for the rest of their time? You know, they sleep and then they have conversations and they share their lives with one another. And there is a sense of community, a sense of acceptance happening. There's a sense of connection that can be shared when we open spaces to one another. And like it really upset me. And I had this conversation just before trying to meditate, and I was struggling. You know, I was like properly struggling with that whole narrative. Tolerance. Hey Google, define tolerance. The ability or willingness to tolerate the existence or opinions or behavior that one dislikes and disagrees with. Oh yeah, it seems I lack some tolerance. The capacity to endure continuous subjection to something such as a drug or environment condition without adverse reaction. An allowable amount of variation of a specific quantity, or especially in the dimension of a machine or part. Yeah, probably the first one in that case. Yeah, oh well. Tolerating. Tolerating. Yes, I'm tolerating right now. Uh, Everyone at yoga sees our healthy dose of silly. It's always beautiful, dear friend. That's where his mind went. Your dad got a dirty mind. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well, actually, Joy. You know, and then he shared with me this capacity, like when Christian was here as well, me talking about, you know, like going to these festivals and being approached, right? Where I was trying to share with him, not the fact that that's the way it is, right? Like people want to sleep with me wherever I go. It's not just Psytrance festivals, but it's this understanding that I have gotten to a point in my own beingness where I don't sleep with people simply because they want to sleep with me, right? I have, in my mind, transcended that need. I, in my mind at least, plan on only sleeping with people that love me, right? There is a difference between sexual polarity alone and a love for one another where you want to merge, right? There is a difference in my mind. And I would rather want to merge than just kind of like have some sort of polarity extinguished. You know, like get to a point versus realize that the point is love. You know, like it's very close to one another, but it's the same thing. And then him interpreting that as, you know, that's the way it is, that all people do at these psytrance festivals is sleep with one another. And I'm like, bro, like, have you ever been to a psytrance festival? And then he tells me, oh yeah, that day I came and picked you up, from the Psytrance festival, people looked like they were wrecked. I'm like, yeah, of course they look like they were wrecked. They just spent 3 days sleeping in tents and dancing all weekend and potentially taking psychedelics or MDMA. Like, yeah, of course they look wrecked. Of course, even if you were sober, dancing for a whole weekend, you would still look wrecked. Like it's not a matter of people trying to wreck themselves. It's just an extreme event, and it's good for your soul, right? Getting wrecked in that way is very good for your soul. It can be cathartic. It can let you feel like this deep sense of release. And the core of those communities, the core of that experience, every single time, is non-judgment, acceptance of the people that show up there, a deep love for the human experience and a celebration thereof, ultimately. And then wanting to bring that here, seeing my dad respond in that way, the first thing that he kind of like finds, as a reason to fight me on it is like, yeah, people aren't gonna be fucking on my farm. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Oh, and it's like again, it's a Christian thing for him, where premarital sex is a sin, etc., etc. So, if he facilitates them sinning, then it's just as well, he does it or something like that. And I'm like, that, how do you think, lodges or, people that rent out chalets or people with Airbnbs, which is not necessarily something that should be encouraged. How do you think these people reason with themselves? You think there are no Christians who have lodges, no Christians who have Airbnbs, no Christians who have chalets for rent because they're so scared that people might sleep with one another in them? Like please. And I ask him, like I seriously ask him, like, please explain to me your reasoning. Like, how do you get to this point where that is your first reaction to me actually asking you this question? That's why I shared with you as well, like in our Sangha the other day, when you asked me, like, will I get to inherit the farm? I don't think so, because I'm a heathen. I'm an atheist in my dad's actual words as well. So I'm not worthy of inheriting anything because I'm not of his Christian beliefs. And I believe I'll, earn my own living. Part of me, my ego part of me, wants to earn more of a living than him, so I can be like, I'm just kidding. But that's the immature part of me that I'm trying to stomp. Manifesting. Hey, Pippi, come. Here you go. Okay. Dog is eating something in the bushes. I wouldn't be surprised. There's like dead things and roots and grass that they eat. I think she might have been eating some grass next to me, if anything. I mean, what if a married couple were to come and visit? Will there be a sign up in the bedroom? Yeah, like that's the thing, right? Like it's a level of, I think it's like immaturity is the way that I'm experiencing it right now. You know, is it immaturity? Maybe like fascism. Hey Google, define fascism. Fascism. Fascism is a far-right, authoritarian, ultra-traditionalist political ideology and movement characterized by a dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opposition. There's more. Hey Google, define a fascist. Fascist. A way of organizing a society in which government ruled by detractor controls the lives of people, in which people are not allowed to disagree with the government. Yeah. And also not disagree with religion, right? Like if you sleep with someone and you're not married to them, then you're a sinner and you're not allowed to do that. So better not do that, right? Like, who do you think you are? People can make their own choices. And then, if I had to have that conversation with him, it's like, yo, they can make their own choices somewhere else. They can't make their own choices here. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I love this place. And I feel, it like hurts my heart that I have like this resource of surface area that goes unused, like that copy, for example. That's where my mind was like going. Like that can be such a beautiful space for people to come together and share as a community and, grow and kind of like do healing work. But because of this way of like seeing the world, this like negative evil, in my mind, actually evil, right? Like you might be believing that you are righteous, that you are just, that you are so beautifully Christian that you can't allow all of this other evil, to be done in this space of yours. But thinking in that way, right? Imagining people coming together in a space and thinking about the worst case scenario as what is going to be happening, that is evil thinking, right? That is like a certain level of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like shallow. Shallow is what my mind goes to. It's like there's all of this like higher level reasoning, right? Higher level experience to be had. And then you bring it back to the derogatory. And then that's what you experience, right? That is his world. Like that wasn't even like a conception in my mind. Like surely people are gonna have sex with one another. I don't care, right? That's not what's stopping me from trying to build something, right? For me, I'm imagining people sitting in a space together, being able to see each other's faces, being able to serve each other meals, being able to like have drum circles, being able to eat mushrooms together and have deep, meaningful conversations that will change their entire lives. Like that's where my mind is like, yes, yes, this is good, this is valuable. And then him, me trying to share this vision with him is like, nah, they're gonna be fucking one another. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Oh, why? I'm still angry about it, as your friends might notice. And I don't know how to get past it. Tolerance, I guess. Breathing. Okay. Laughs an exhibitionist or a celebrate. Maria must be celibate. You have to like sign a contract that you are celibate before before you can come here. What if a bunch of celibates and eunuchs want to come? Yeah, like everybody just be like, actually, I'm a celibate eunuch. Eunuch? What is a eunuch again? Like have no things. Hey, John, it's nice seeing your name, dear friend. I mean, covers in pajamas. It's fixed. Sending you lovin's, dude. Like he's been singing outside. It's been beautiful. It's nice having you here, dude. No, 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 because obviously structures and engineering exist for fuckery. Yeah, exactly. That's like the primary function. Yeah, you build structures and then people fuck. that's like that's like the only thing that they're good for. Nothing brings out sarcasm like polarizing topics. Oh yeah, Sam. Sam is great for bringing out opinions. Like I love Sam's way of thinking and her, strong character in that case. About this topic, I got severely triggered when people tell me I'm not pushing myself, doing more, or getting out, especially when I'm exhausted or I am PMSing. I struggle not to bite the person's head off. It's been a process. Learning tolerance, right? I'm proud of you, Zano. Again, right? It's okay to feel this rage. I felt this rage, but I didn't attack my dad in rage. I did go back to him and I was like, bro, like I'm trying to understand. I'm seriously trying to understand. How did you get to this point? Like, how did you get to this point? And then his answer to that was like, who is going to have to pay the consequences, right? Like, if the police arrive here because of how loud the music is, who is going to have to pay the consequences? Or if there's a fight that breaks out, or if there is complaints from the neighbors, who's going to have to eat the consequences of that. And I told him, like as a community leader, I would be willing to take on all of the consequences. And he's like, yeah, that's not how it's going to be because it's not your place. And we're like, oh, okay, good. We're still stuck on the ego fractal. That's nice. Like we would rather just let stuff stand and do nothing, literally become desolate, than open it up to other people, because what if police, what if noise, what if sex, what if this, yeah, rather just keep everybody away. If not for sex, the human species wouldn't exist, Dad. Clearly sex is great. Clearly God loves sex. Otherwise he wouldn't make it so fun. I didn't say that to him, but that's what this moment of me being like, hey, Whiskey Mouse. Okay. Alamao, this cliche trope of an older B&B owner that has a no sex rule, and honeymooners and couples on romantic trips have to work around it, comes to mind. Like, can you imagine, right? Like the amount of ego in that scenario. Like, there has to be like a certain level of jealousy, as well, and like maybe even depravity. That's the way where my mind goes. It's like there has to be like something in your head for you to kind of like come to that level of expectation. Susanna, now that I am off the hardcore coffee addiction, I can see how tired PMDD makes me, man. And I'm too tired for anyone's crap. I mean, like, bro, I cannot handle your shit. Cable joining us too. It's nice having you here, friend. Oh my goodness, I grew up in a fascist household. Yeah, the expectation, the trying to control. Eva wants to get on my lap as well right now. Okay, Eva. She has like a bunch of things in her little clothing. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Yeah, Lois, this is where we have the gap in thought ideology in Canada. We teach about fascism in school, and then the students go home and experience it. That's too brutal. That's your dad's fractal. Women live longer than men generally, so your mom may end up with it and then give it to you kids. I'm a little bit confused as to that message. You only brought this up for the first time, right, Meld? Maybe you just needs time to process it, or time to might lighten up about it. Yeah, it was technically the first time. I was like thinking about it and thinking how much like thought I have put into it. The way I approached him again with this conversation is, Dad, if I had the financial means to build, can I use the copy to build a community? And then his answer was, you smell like dead. Yeah, stanky. You so stank. So stank, Pips. She stinks. Pippi is being a jelly bobelli as well, being like, bruh, what's happening? Why are we winging? Let me get back to it. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I think the only brought this up. Yeah. I'll take some beach for you, Mel. Please do. Vicariously. Greetings again, John. Peaceful acceptance of your dad's views, as silly as they are, can help tremendously. I'm trying. Who needs tears? I just don't understand sometimes, right? Like for me, it's the level of like black and white reductionist thinking. When there's so much more, there's so much more to this experience than just the visceral, putting body parts in other body parts. Like there's, like that's like Pippi, please, I'm busy. She's like nudging me with her nose. You see, like look at that, like nudge, nudge. Let me show you. Nudge, nudge, nudge. I know. Oh, okay. We're having some electrical issues. Our electricity isn't coming in at the correct voltages or something. So happy that all of you exist. Please know that you were seen and recognized by at least one person. Don't give up. Thank you for sharing that, Star Seed. Star Child, I appreciate you sharing that sentiment. Shan, that's what I was thinking too. People say things as a reaction in a single moment, not having put any thought into it. I'd say approach it gently and from a completely different angle. The first time the topic naturally comes up, no need to force the conversation, embrace it, and it comes up in divine timing. He did, like after the second conversation I had with him, trying to understand where it was coming from, he did kind of budge a little bit and he told me I need to present him a proper business plan, right? So again, if you want to come here, I have to justify how you're going to earn your existence. And like I was going to talk about this topic before I had this conversation with my dad, and it was just so beautiful, beautifully comic, beautifully ironic to see how this drive I have to abolish this system of having to earn your existence, and my dad being completely ingrained, so stuck in, yeah, the only way for people to come here is if you give me a business model that will guarantee I'll make money from this thing that you want to build. It's like, yeah, never mind the fact that building something is fucking hard. Never mind that building something and then keeping it maintained is very hard. Keep the curse words away. But now I have to pay you money so that I can build something, and then relax, oh, put it down. You're just gonna trip yourself out. I like the numbers and saw that, Joe. You and all of you good time buddies love you. I had 74 and 11 characters left in both of those. More. Always talking about peepees and wee-wees. Yeah. Adam and Eve weren't married. There we go. That's true. That is true. I should hit him with that. It's like, bro, who married Adam and Eve? You know, where was the pasture before they started bumping uglies? And I'm pretty sure they did it a lot, yo. They had a lot of kids. There was no sanctioned marriage there. Party time is over. The bums lost Bukowski and get a job. Okay, well, exactly, Joe. That's what I was thinking. Of course, doggy is the cutest. She is. She's a sweetie heart. She is nice and warm as well. Dad sniffed the dog. Your dad sniffed the dog. As his answer, maybe death. Natalie, you said it. The farm melty. Your mom may end up with it and pass it on to you and your siblings. Maybe. I don't want my dad to die. I had this conversation with him 2 days ago, recommending that he gets his hormones tested, recommending that he potentially goes on testosterone replacement therapy, recommending that he starts taking peptides. Like I want my dad to live a very long time. I don't want to inherit anything. Ideally, I will have so much wealth that inheriting something will just end up costing me something instead of actually letting me gain more wealth. And it sucks. It sucks that I can't utilize, right? Like I'm just thinking about how much generational wealth, like I don't think my family had generational wealth necessarily. My grandma didn't leave my dad with much, and this farm is something my dad got, as like a result of fractals, like converging opportunities meeting up. Like he was working as a CEO for a mine, and then this mine had a bunch of property, and then they auctioned off pieces of the property that didn't have any resources to be mined, and then he was one of the people bidding on this, resource, and then he got this farm as a result of that. And it's valuable, as much as property is supposed to be valuable, but there is grass. Like that's the value of this farm right now, grass, right? And then my mind goes, let's build a place where people can come together and exist, live, celebrate living. And my dad's mind is like, is it gonna be more valuable than grass? Show me how you will make more value than grass. Otherwise, no. No do. It's tough when people think because they have problems that the other should also have the same problems, like zero separation of opinion or acceptance of disagreement. Just know you have to be like me. You smell like dead. Parents are really tribalistic about land. They are. It's disgusting. And it makes me very angry. That, especially since it's not used, right? Like if he was like actively using it, right? If that space was generating him an income, and I was asking him to forfeit that income so that I can do something and make an income, then I would understand the resistance. I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. He might have, like a bunch of other expenses, and this like value generating system is helping him cover these expenses, and me taking it away from him is going to make his life harder. I understand that, perfectly. Like, I'm not stupid. But the fact that it's doing nothing, zilch. And then he has this experience of, still in denial, still like fighting me on it. Yeah, okay. Okay, done. Put it down. Put it down. Remember that land used to be a basis for vote and the one resource most families break over. Yep. Earning your existence, right? Instead of utilizing the land for existence. Who else are going to give it to their kids, though? Who else are they going to give it to but their kids, though, Kevo? Yeah. Beach taken for you with 1111 mouth. Love is true. Joy. Unfortunately, parents aren't always thinking of that. The idea of an individual supersedes the collective for most people. And even though a child is part of your individual only, they still go whack sometimes. Universe gave you the theme again. Earn your existence, even if you never asked for it. Yep. Right. Yesterday we talked about this experience of prison. That people get punished for their transgressions, and this monetary system where we have to earn our existence is like a certain level of punishment. And the thing we did wrong is simply existing. Right? It's like, oh, you exist, do you? Well, guess you're working. Guess you're gonna have to earn your existence now forever, until you're dead. Congratulations, your job. but I hate job. Yeah, well, then either job or die. But I don't want to die. Well, guess you're jobbing. Guess you're gonna job. Also, never mind that it's also used the structure for whatever he pleases. He can also, yeah, exactly. Like if he wants to, get out of the house a little bit and go and sleep in one of those chalets, he could do that as well. God technically gave them the okay. Also, God always watches everyone. So you can add that 2 plus 2 exactly. It's like, if God didn't approve of me having premarital sex, why not strike me dead? Why not? Why not strike me dead? Why not? Right? Like, if I'm doing something wrong, why not? Clearly, I'm not doing something wrong because here I am, aliving right now. Melt always gets confused reading my great jokes out of context. It happens, Kevo. It does sometimes happen. My parents made the conscious decision that they didn't want any of their children to inherit anything. So they sold the family home and land. But my sis managed to buy, so they will never speak to her. What a weird fractal that is. It's like, yeah, you don't get nothing. And then one of the sisters, has her own financial means and then buys the family home or buys the family land. And then they're like, fuck you. Fuck you for doing that. How dare you? It's like, this house is significant to me. It was my family home. I grew up here and it has sentimental value. This land is something that I would like to maybe give to my kids one day. Hoarding land like a dragon. Yeah, God is playing the long game. He doesn't want to strike you dead when you get burned for eternity in hell. Of course, of course. He's being like, yeah, look at these stupid assholes making mistakes. Oh, I'm gonna burn them so good. Or, yeah. No, I'm not gonna believe in that God. I'm sorry. Why am I opening this book first? Let's pull a card. I believe in a God of love. Unconditional love. If any being is capable of unconditionally loving, it has to be God, right? Unconditionally. Actually, no conditions. You don't have to earn the love that God has for you. God loves you. Period. Period. Nothing more needs to be said. Flair, thank you. I've been journaling about the very thing all morning. I'm not seeing any of Flair's recent messages, but I appreciate you kind of like absorbing some of the lessons that he's sharing as well. That Burby is making beautiful sounds. Can you hear him? You can, a little bit. How beautiful. We are in hell and heaven. It's unconditional love on the other side. I don't believe that, unfortunately, Luke. I believe we actively choose, right? That the part of us that looks resides in the other side, in unconditional love, right? And then when this body dies, we just fall back into that place that we already are. Yes, we hear Burby. 8 minutes to work time. I love you. It's been very nice having you here, Star Child. It has this one. This one. This is the card. This is the card that I identify with the most. Like, if there's any card that I believe is me, it's this one. I did pull it upside down. But we pulled the tetrahedron. The tetrahedron. 4 triangles folded onto itself, creating a 3-dimensional shape. One of the Platonic solids. You got the opposite color. The complementary color to orange is purple, 100% though. Geez, my husband and son and I would come for a working vacation, rent a trailer, and pay your dad a couple of months' rent for the space. He probably wouldn't even go for that. He might, if you come with money, right? He probably would. Like I shouldn't say stuff like this, but I believe my dad's pretty motivated by cash. You know, if you'd be like, oh, you can make extra cash for nothing. We're just gonna rent this RV, and then be out of your hair. Like the best part is like that space. Like I was like even thinking about that. Like you can isolate it in a way where there's no access to like the house, his space, right? Like his family space. Trying to like think of him like in that way as well. Trying to be conscientious, considerate. But yeah, this card is the card of action. It's kind of funny that we pulled it. Technically, actually, we pulled it upside down, which is the definition of passivity, where it encourages you to actually chillax a little bit. Blue and orange. I feel like a part of me wants to just hold a card in front of my face like this. Is it card 6? Okay. Understanding. Oh my goodness! Star Child, you were talking about how understanding is one of the most important things for us to have, huh? How about that? The core meanings, understanding and action. Yeah. Divinity. What the fuck? Yesterday I said orange and it was purple. And today I said purple and it was orange. Got your lines crossed. The polarity is polarizing you. Yes, the tetrahedron, the base shape of 3D space. Exactly. Exactly. The most powerful, of the Platonic shapes as well. Maybe I'll do a tetrahedron meditation today. That sounds like a good idea to me. Not yet, Joe, but it's been making my stomach flip. I can't deal with the idea of no consequences. We had to train her replacement yesterday, though, so we're trying to be hopeful. Bad coworker doesn't get canned yet, goodness. Helping people? You're in the right space. Zano, you're having opposite week. Joe, he is charming and a business analyst, so I'm looking forward to gifting him some Excel skills. That's good. So the reverse meaning, goes the downward facing tetrahedron is water, passive, and the feminine. This is a time of safe passage and rest. No action is indicated. Yeah. I don't have the money to action at the moment. Not the way that I want to action, but I'm getting there. It's going to take me a while though. The tetrahedron, with its 4 equal triangular faces, is one of the 5 three-dimensional shapes commonly called the Platonic solids. The simplest of these solids, the tetrahedron, is associated with the masculine aspect and the element of fire. Melt, 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 melt. It's a symbol of action and understanding. This is the fire of ambition and the understanding of what it will take to bring ideas to fruition. Is there a mission you have been considering or a decision you have been putting off? Now is the time to seek greater understanding and assurance that the path that you have embarked upon is in your best interest. Now is the time to take action and initiate movement towards the promotion of ideas and the completion of creative projects. If you are already actively engaged in this process, this card affirms your decision to act and support the inspiration and passion that directs you upon this path. Understand that the evolution of your vision will take energy and focus. Remember to listen to your inner guidance and make certain this action is not merely smoke and flames, but intentional movement towards your highest good. Yo! Skabow. That's a good one. Safe passage and rest, no action required. This is how I'm visualizing my surgery this week. I believe Maxine is having surgery today. So, safe passage and rest to her as well in this moment. Sending you love-ins, all of you friends. Like I said, understanding the concept of understanding is the most important thing. From this, all other knowledge is possible. It's base state, right? Understand that you are celebrated, dear Joe Schmo. It's nice having you here, friend. Let's play a little bit of kalimba before we tune out. It's okay. I corrected in my brain for your typos. We'll do like 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Jaju, friends, can you ask? There we go. I was reading your mind. Reading your mind as you were typing that message, Shan. I jumped the gun. You said it as a I know. I know. So much love. Let's go. Done. Thank you, friends, for joining me once again. Second passage and rest. Melty. Sometimes you must just trust in the process of positive influence and understand that it often takes longer than we expect for the love to take hold of our surroundings. Be patient with Papa. I'm trying. I'm trying. It's hard. It's hard because I feel he's me, right? Like he looks like me even. He he has the same capacity that I have to come to the conclusions that I have, but he doesn't. And to me, it's a symptom of the rest of his beliefs. That's what I believe, right? Where I try to, like a problem solver, like a scientist, look at everything in his life, look at the way he sees the world, look at his interpretation of reality, and then I try to simplify it to its constituents, and then try and undo those constituents in myself, trying to remove them, melt them away ultimately. And this work that I've been trying to do, this philosophy that I'm embracing, this understanding of duality in unity, masculine and feminine, polarity, right? Not genitals, polarity, this this give and take, this ebb and flow, coming together in a moment like this to share love, right? That love cannot be evil. It's impossible for it to be evil. It cannot be sinful, right? Even if people have premarital sex, if they love one another, and they're not trying to harm one another, and they're not trying to use one another, or they're not trying to like ruin each other's lives, and there is a genuine connection in that, that love, that sex is a good thing. It's a good thing to them. It's a good thing to this world that we're a part of. That's how we procreate. That's how we make more humans. So yeah, it just bothers me that there's a lack of understanding, and then at the same time, uh, a willingness to try and convince me that their understanding is the superior one, right? That I'm supposed to be thinking like them. And that sounds like an absolute nightmare to me, where I'm like, bro, if I had to think like you, I don't think if I would, be able to live with myself. No, he is scared of this world, just like a lot of us used to be. Love is true. Thank you for playing. It was beautiful. I played because I saw your name in chat, dear friend. I wouldn't have played afterwards, but then I saw you. All of you people come from dirty sex, exactly. That was beautiful. You were beautiful. You were loved. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Flair. It was nice seeing you in this space with us today, dear friend. Brother Bear, it's not our job to understand why people don't feel what they feel. It's just our job to shine our living light upon them. I agree. I'm doing that. I'm not fighting with him. I wasn't fighting with him, but I was more fighting with this narrative that he presented me with, essentially. Shan with a have the most beautifulest day, everyone. I love you all so, so super duper. Gigantically, enormously, colossally, megala, super sized dearly. Melt on all of you breathtakingly, astonishingly gorgeous friends. As we love you, dear Shan. Spamming hearts because I love you. So I can see them. I can see the little heart, little box. Pew, 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 pew. Heart, hearting. But only on only on my profile that isn't my main one. Yeah. Spamming hearts. So much lovin's to you, friends. Thank you for lovin's me. I appreciate you so much. So, so much. Thank you for showing up in the way you do. For not expecting me to earn my existence, but for celebrating my existence. I appreciate you, friends, so much. We'll say goodbye for today. Ooh. And then we'll do this again tomorrow. Love you, dear friend. Goodbye, everybody.